Hi, everybody. This is an exhibit that's very special to me. This is a mini group called Journeys, and we've been together for almost 20 years. Not all the members have been the same. A few have um, moved or decided not to do it anymore, and we take new members in, but we have 10 members, and we do a yearly exhibit with a theme. And this year it is my own backyard, and then you needed to use green was the color. We try to we pick a color because we want to have some sort of continuity with the theme. So this first one is from Mary Stiewig, and she is our senior member of our group, and she has a koi pond. She used to live in California years ago, and she's always had koi. And so this is her koi pond, and it's called My Happy Place, and it's 23 by 33. And she has done some piecing and some raw edge applique and top stitching. And this next piece belongs to Helen Brisson. It's called Visiting Another's Homeland. It's 36 by 48. And her interpretation is of the cliffs along the Columbia River, where I recognize I am a guest in the homeland territory of the Cayuse, the Umatilla, and the Nez Perce and Walla Walla people. I extend my respect with this artwork to the indigenous people who call this land home. And this was a rock outcropping. I saw the photograph of it that she took it from, and there was a lot of petroglyphs on it, and you see a lot of lichen, which is where the green comes from. And on this piece, Helen used some hand-dyed fabric, and then everything is a collage, and then she does lots of stitching on her long arm. You can see in some of the heavily stitched pieces to create more texture. And then she's also done some yarn work in the greens to add texture also of the lichen that you see on the rocks. Now this next piece belongs to Donna Rice, and Donna lives in Bend, and this looks a lot like her backyard. I have seen it. And it's what she sees from her deck. And she has 2 cats and a dog and a lot of wild animals that come and visit, and lots of birds. And Donna has one of those cutting machines. And so a lot of these pieces, especially the pieces in the trees, she's used her cutting machine to give her all those little tiny pieces. And this piece is all applique, and it's machine quilted. And she hand dyed the fabric that she has put the collage on. You can see it especially in the foreground. And she did that in the winter. And it is not for sale. And this is Martha Sanders' piece, and it's called Night Sky 3 a.m. So many wonderful star-filled nights spent in my backyard with my dog, often at 3 a.m. This was late October and early snowfall. I designed and quilted this piece with the use of a cutting machine, commercial and hand-dyed materials. So I'm guessing that her trees are probably done with the cutting machine. This next piece is mine, and I love my garden. And I have a small raised garden beds that's right outside the window of the studio. And I planted a lot of cosmos seeds last year, and it was just a riot of color by the end of July and all of August, with all the pinks and the oranges. And I call it Where the Birds Sing, because all these little birds come in August, and they start eating the sunflower seeds, and then they're eating little bugs and things, but they just kind of hide in the leaves of um, my garden, and I just really have enjoyed the little birds. This next piece is done by June Jaeger, and it's called Reflections. My backyard is my place to go to think, relax, play in the flowers. Sitting by the pond says it all to me, reflection. And June hand painted that whole background fabric. And then she did painting, separate painting on cloth for the leaf colors and some of the flower colors. And then she cuts them apart and they are fused in place. So this is a machine or fused applique quilt with beautiful machine stitching. Just outside was done by Jan Tetzlaff. And it says, every autumn just outside, nature puts on a magnificent show of color. Trees dress themselves in leaves of every shade of red, green, gold, and purple. It's a bittersweet display, briefly brilliant. And I think Jan's done a really fun piece here. She's used a lot of silk dupioni for the backgrounds, and it really shows her hand quilting. And she loves to do lots and lots of hand stitching and hand quilting. And then the leaves are pieced in some silks and some cottons and some hand-dyed fabrics, but they really do capture that feeling of what you see in the fall with all the different colors in the leaves. Okay, Mystical Forest is by Judy Beaver, and Judy Beaver really enjoys the fabrics that you can get from Ghana, and she buys a lot of these, and then she'll take one of those kind of large-scale prints and design a whole piece, you know, deciding how she can showcase those printed fabrics. My home backs up to a natural preserve known as Trout Creek Conservation Area. The tall ponderosa trees, the yellowing needles on the forest floor, and the multitude of forest inhabitants provide endless hours of wonderment and appreciation. Yeah, and she does just live out in the woods, kind of west of Sisters. This next piece was done by Marion Shimoda, and it's called Lay Makers, and it's done with repurposed cloth, and the cloth came from garments from her parents, and it was hand painted and printed. Memories of the Hawaiian people and gardens of my youth, made of fabric from clothing designed and printed by Hawaiian artist Alan Akina. And she says that the piece in the middle was on the back of a shirt that her dad had, and then the other black and white pieces around the edge were ruffles on a muumuu. And she has hand stitched everything on this quilt. So it has taken her hours to do the hand stitching. And this last piece is by Betty Gientke, and it's called Leaves and Three Sisters in My Own Backyard. Printing leaves from my own backyard is a magical process. You never know what eco-printing leaves will look like when you unwrap them, just like the Three Sisters. They look different every time you see them. And she's become a real master with this eco-printing, and I love the imagery that she's been able to put together. And this is a collage-like piece too, where a lot of the leaves are going over some of the seam lines, which makes for a very interesting design. and she is putting the leaves, the ones that are on top of the fabric, and then top stitching all the way around with a tiny little, looks like a little zigzag. So I hope you can come by on Friday. We're having a reception from 4 to 6, and lots of nice little goodies are going to be here for you to celebrate. And we always like to share our work with all of you, and hope to see some people here on Friday.